This is your instructor, Kevin Connor. I'm doing a video over Project 12B. This is going to be like 11B. It's going to be an existing file that you're going to add to it. And again, it's going to give you a preview. Going to be working with smart art. Going to be working with bullet and number lists. Going to be working with tabs, inserting an online video. We'll have to kind of cover that. But to start off, this is going to be one of your student files. So again, you got to have the student files downloaded and unzipped somewhere on your computer. I'm going to save this document for later when I go over tabs. But I'm going to go out and get that file. I'm going to go to Open, and then I'm going to go to Browse. I got mine on my desktop, made a folder for it. Here's Chapter 12, and the file you want, and they'll have the instructions here. It's W12B Programs. So we're going to open up that file. I'll drag it over, kind of do a split screen. And I think right off the bat, after I enable editing here, in that they're going to go ahead and do your save as and save it underneath the new name. So I'm going to go to File, do my save as, go to Browse. And again, I made that folder out there. Let me kind of just go back. Desktop 101. Here's my student data files, and here's my folder for Chapter 12. In this one, they're going to want it. It's going to be your last name. Don't forget the underscores. First name, underscores. This one's going to be 12B in programs. Okay, that's the file name. It's going to save it as a .docx, the default file format for Word. So I'll go ahead and click the Save button. I got saved underneath the new name. You can see it up in the title bar. And I think they're going to come down here and actually put that file name in the footer. So I go to my Insert, go to Footer. I don't want any of the pre-made ones. I want to edit the footer. Then once I'm there, I'm on the header and footer tab, that contextual tab. I come over down here to document info, and I put in file name, and there it is. Then just close it. Okay. The first formatting, again, all the text is there, so you'll be inserting some content, but it's just really in formatting the existing content. The first thing to do is they're going to set up your margin. The margin is that white space from where your text begins and the edge of the paper. There's a top, left, right, and bottom margin. So when you set these, this is going to be kind of a document level format where it's going to affect all the pages in your document. So to go there, we need to go to the Layout tab, and here's our margins. Okay. And I think they're going to have you come down here to Custom Margins, and they want to have 1-inch margins all the way around. I'm pretty sure that's what they want. Yeah, they want 1-inch margins all the way around. Okay, so the top and bottom are already set, but the right we're going to set to 1 inch. Sorry, the left. I'm going to do the left first. That's set to 1 inch. And then I'm going to set the right to 1 inch. You can either type in the values or use the scrollers to set those. So they're all 1 inch. Okay, got them set to 1 inch. Now we'll save our changes. We're going to format these top two paragraphs here, which is going to be a heading and subheading. Both of those. The first thing they're going to talk about first is they're going to go over in more detail about the alignment settings. Those are going to be on the Home tab into the paragraph group. Okay, they're going to talk about the right, center, left, and full justifications. They'll have descriptions of those here, so read through that. And they're simply going to have these center aligned, where it's going to evenly apply the word wrap on the left and right margins. And then they're going to have you set the font size of both of these. So I'm going to set that top one. I think the first one is going to be font size 40. And that's a value I'm going to type in. So I'll type in 40 and hit enter. And the next one's going to be 26 for the subheading. That one I can pick. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to apply formats to some other headings. This is kind of one of the tricky things about, or kind of maybe the not so clear instructions in this chapter, in that they want to apply formatting to kind of non-adjacent paragraphs. So it's going to be a mouse keyboard to select these paragraphs. So first it's going to be these three subheadings. And they're just going to center align them, but it's just to the point. I think the center aligning, they might adjust the font too. I think they just do just the centering, but they want to apply them at the same time. Okay, so use my mouse and I will select the first heading, and then I will hold on my control key. I'll select the second heading. You can see the first one stays selected. I'll let go of the control button, and then I'll scroll down so I can see that third subheading right here. Hold on my control key again on my keyboard, and then I'll swipe over it to select it. And now you can see they're all still selected, and then come up here and go to the paragraph, and I can center align them at the same time. Okay, that's what they do. The next thing they're going to have you do is adjust the line spacing. They're going to do it to the entire document. I think there's different line spacing on different paragraphs here, but they're going to set the same line spacing on the whole document. And it's really the line spacing is just, and it's really kind of goes between the top of one line to the bottom of another line of text inside of paragraphs, or in between paragraphs too. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do, they want to select the entire document, and you could swipe, use the mouse to select the text. It's best to make sure you get everything if you use a keyboard combination. And I'm going to hold down my control key with one finger, and then I'm going to tap the A key. It's control A to select all, and this works in many different programs. Control A is pretty universal for selecting everything. Control A. So once I have that, I'll maximize this because it's really in a couple different areas, but on the ribbon, it's right here in the paragraph group. Okay, line spacing. See, there's single space, 1.5. It's on 2 right now. And again, you do get the live preview. I'm just kind of holding my mouse over top of these different settings. They want you to adjust it to 1.5. That's the one thing, I think, a step that gets missed in this chapter, and why it gets kind of off. They don't have the right number of pages because they don't set the line spacing. But that's setting the line spacing. Next thing I'm going to have you do is they're going to have you set a first line indent on a couple of paragraphs. A first line indent, they already got them done on some of these. If I go down here below requirements, here's a paragraph that has, let me kind of click away the select. Here's a paragraph that has a first line indent set. It's not a tab, it's an indent. You can either use the indent markers up here or use settings in the more paragraph button and dialog box. But you can see in a first line paragraph, the first line is indented in from the left margin, and all subsequent lines are flush with that left margin. That's a first line indent. We'll do in this chapter, and especially be important in the next chapter when we do MLA APA papers. We got to have a first line indent. Okay, a first line indent. So I was just going to do it on these first 2 paragraphs. So I'm just going to highlight those and do it at the same time. And I'll go over those indent markers in the next chapter. But for this one, we'll just do like the chapter. I'm going to go to a paragraph. I'm going to go to the More button. And under Indents and Spacing, under Indentation, they got it right here in the drop-down list where I can set a first line indent, and it's going to default to 1/2 inch. And you kind of can see how these indent markers here will change as soon as I say OK. It moves. That first top one is that first line indent control. It's that first top, kind of an upside down triangle there. That's the first line indent marker. And now those are set. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to adjust spacing. There's actually spacing before and after paragraphs. There's line spacing, then I can also create space above and below the paragraphs. Okay, and again, this is where they're going to apply it to the whole document. Okay, so I'm going to select everything. So I'm doing another Control A. and then I'm going to go ahead and maximize my window. Then I'm going to go to the Layout tab, and here is my spacing. Here's my spacing, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to do a 6-point paragraph group under spacing. Click after, so it's going to be after the paragraphs, and going to add a 6-point space to all the paragraphs. I think they're going to do some other adjustments, but I'll go and do the after and go 6-point is kind of the default. Okay, is the default. They're also going to adjust the space above the paragraphs to those 3 headings again. Okay, so I'm going to do again, I'm going to select this, I'll deselect that, select this first heading, scroll down, hold my control key, select the next subheading, scroll down, control key, and select that. And they're going to put a little space above that to kind of separate it between it and the paragraph above it. So I'll come up here, and I think it says they're going to do a space before 12-point above those headings. There we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and save our updates. Now, the next thing they're going to cover is bullet and numbered list. It's just to better or more prevalently display list of items. And it adds quite a few things to your document. You know, it's going to be a graphic to signify each list item. It puts in indents, it puts in tabs. Okay, like right here, this isn't actually a list right here. As an intern, you might take part in the following productions. So this is like a list of productions, and they don't really kind of stand out the way they are, but they will if we turn that into a bullet list. Well, this one's going to be a bullet list. You can do numbered list also. So I'll highlight these, and each list item is going to be really individual paragraphs, as you see here. But as I'm going to select, I don't want that one, I just want these list items. I'll come back to my Home tab. I should maximize this, because now you can see there's bullet lists, and it's going to have a default graphic, and then there's numbering lists. But these are going to be a bullet list. You can see how it's going to change those. It adds a graphic, adds a tab, and it indents them. It actually does a hanging indent. We'll go over hanging indents, what they actually are, in chapter 12, but you can use the increase and decrease indent to control where those display in your document. I'm just going to leave it to default. That's a bullet list. And I think there's going to be, right here is going to be another bullet list. So I'm going to highlight those, and they may have you do different ways in the chapter, may have you do the format painter, but I'm just going to highlight those and change those into a bullet list with the default settings by just clicking on it. And I think they're going to go back and have you change. You got more than just these little dots that you can use for bullet point or item indicators. I'm going to highlight both of these lists. I'm going to highlight that first list. I'm going to hold down the control key. I'm going to highlight the second list. And then if I drop down the arrow next to bullet list, you can see I have different markers or different graphics I can use in the bullet library. And you can also go out and add your own. I think they're going to change these to the check marks. Make sure you do that. They change them to the check mark. Okay, that's it for those bullet lists. The next thing they're going to do is do a numbered list, and they're going to have you kind of use one of the auto features. I'm not going to type out everything here, but just make sure you type. They'll have some text that they're going to have you type out, but at the end of, you can see they're going to have another list here. Okay, and it's in that paragraph after the heading requirements. You can see there's like a colon where they indicate they're going to start a list. So I'm going to hit the enter key after that, and then I think they're going to have you come up here and move this top first line indent marker back to where it's at the 0 mark. Okay, oh, almost got to the 0 mark. And then they're going to have you type out the number 1 period and hit the tab, and it automatically starts a numbered list. As you can see, it's highlighted here up in the paragraph group. You do have the option to turn that off if you don't want to have it do it automatically. Okay, but when you do that, a period and an arrow, it's automatically going to create a list, a numbered list. Okay, and I think they're going to have you. It's going to go off in the 2 pages. Let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. It's going to have you go off in 2 pages, and they're going to have you address that too. But it's going to be item 1, item 2. I should have put 1 up here. They'll have you type out some text. I'm just going to save in some time. I think they're going to have you add 3 items, just so my layout is correct. They'll have you do that. And like numbered lists, or sorry, bullet list, with these numbered lists, if I highlight those, I have different options. You know, regular numbers, Roman numerals, and so forth. Letters, uppercase, lowercase, how you want to determine your numbered list. The next thing that's kind of I think the toughest in this is working with tabs. Working with tabs. And I got another document just to work with here because we're going to be working with these tabs. And this tabs are kind of the old way to arrange content into rows and columns. Okay, here I just got 2 rows and actually 3 columns, and I just got spaces. And a lot of people try to control it with the space bar, and you really truly just can't, especially when it comes to fonts and font sizes. Okay, it's best to use tabs. So I'm going to replace these spaces with the space bar, and I'll replace each one with tabs, and I can better control the layout of the spacing between actually my columns. Okay, so I got tabs added to the first row for columns, and I'll do the same thing for the second row. I'm just hitting the tab key, backspacing out the space and replacing with the tab. And there is a default, I'm going to add a line here. There is a default setting every time you hit that tab key in Word, and I think all word processors follow this, in that they're going to be every ½ inch. Every time you hit the tab key, it's going to move the insertion point every ½ inch on that ruler. Okay, and that's what it did here. It just goes by the amount of text you have in between your tabs. Okay, like right now these are still falling. These 2 tabs are still falling within the default ½ inch because it fits. But like if I will add more content to this second item, imagine not much, it's going to move out to the next available tab stop. See, even if I just added the N, it actually had to move it out to the 1½ inch mark on the ruler. Okay, but you can control them. You can control them. Like I'm going to highlight these and kind of form like a small tab table. And I'm just going to use a ruler. And I'm going to like move that. Right now this first one's at the ½ inch. I want to move that first tab to the 1 inch mark. And when I use a ruler, and as soon as I just click on that, really got to kind of hold it down towards the bottom of the number or any place in that ruler, it's going to replace the default ½ inch and 1 inch. Well, it's going to be at the 1 inch. Maybe I'll just do it past the 1 inch marker. So it's going to replace the default ½ inch and 1 inch with, I think this is like 1 1/4. So as soon as I click, it replaced those 2 default ones with mine. And this is the default. You're going to go over these. This is going to be a left align, a left tab. Their contents left. There's left align. Let me tell you, that's center, that's right, that's for numbers. You can control them. Well, there's decimals. That's actual indent. But defaultly, when you hit the tab key or add them to the marker, it's going to be a left align tab. And they're going to go over this little control right here. And like I say, I'm going to move that next one out to the 4 inch. So I'm going to click right underneath the 4 inch. Come on now. Hopefully. No, let me highlight it again here. There we go. And that replaced the 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, and 3 1/2 default tabs with my 4 inch left. And I can drag these around to adjust them if I need be, to adjust my columns. Or if I want to get rid of it and go back to the defaults, I can grab. Sometimes it's kind of a tricky grab with the mouse. Almost, I'm going to say impossible, very hard with the touchpad, but you can. If I grab the mouse, I just got to drag it off the screen and it goes away. It goes back to the default. Okay. So this one, they're going to do several things to this tab table right here. And I'll just show you how to do it. It's going to be, they're going to have you do multiple things, like adjust the tab, move it around. They're going to kind of go over several things with tabs, but I'm just going to show you what the end result's going to be. You can highlight this tab table. There's going to be one tab. And again, they're all kind of different because like this one, you can tell it's at the 1/2 inch marker. But this one's at the 1 inch marker, or really actually 1.5. But we're going to actually set these all at, it's going to look goofy when we do it. They're going to have you, I think, start at 4, then drag it over to 6. But I'm just going to click on the 6 because that's where it's going to be at. I'll click on the 6. And it makes it look goofy, but we're not done with it yet. Because right now it's left aligned. It's making it go off on the 2 lines. But we're going to go to the actual tab dialog box and change it from left to right and add a dot leader. And there's a couple ways you can get to that tab dialog box. One, if you do kind of precise double click. Hold on, do it precise. I'll just go ahead and do it now. Do a precise double click right on that tab marker. You got to make sure that your tip of your mouse is on that tab marker, because if you don't, you're just going to add another tab. But I'm going to double click, and there the tab dialog box is. And you can see I did not add another tab. Okay, and here I got just the one tab. It shows up in that list. And I'm going to change the alignment from left to right. There's actually a bar in the one for decimal places. And I'm going to add this dot leader, which is the number 2 option. Okay, and let me cancel that. I'll show you the other way, because we're going to make sure in that I'm going to go to the paragraph group, click the more button, and then right here's tabs. Go to the same thing. Make sure you have this selected in that list, because you might have more than one here when you do work through this. You might have an extra one. But this one, I'm just going to make sure I have that 6 inch selected. I change it to right and add the option 2 leader, which is the dot leader. And I can go ahead and click the set. If I click OK, it's going to apply, but I'll go ahead and click set. And if you have any other ones here besides 6 inch, make sure you highlight them and clear them. And you can see right here, you can change the default tab stop if you wanted to. But I got the 6 highlighted, I set it right, set it number 2, I set it, I say OK, and that's what it should look like when it's done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert some smart art. That's what we'll do, some smart art. Just graphics to, kind of a more graphical way to convey information to the user. And they're going to insert that right after, let me see, they're going to insert it right after internship. So let me see where they're going to have you go control home. Plus move the top of the document. Okay. It doesn't tell me if I know right where I gotta have if I need to have my insertion point at. Oh, right here. Click to the right of the subtitle Internship Guide. So I guess I'm going to be right here. And then we go to the Insert tab. And then, I'm going to go ahead and maximize this so I can, right here it is, Smart Art. Click Smart Art, and then I think that gets down here. Is it in Process? Yeah, under Process. Or you can find it under the All list too. But it's Process, and it's the basic chevron. So I'll click that, say OK. It opens it up, and it's going to have this dialog box. You can use this dialog box, or you can click right inside the actual graphics to actually add text to these text placeholders. But I think they're going to have 3 items to type in. Process. Here's the text. Here we go. The first one is apply online. I'm just going to use this list. If the list closes, you can just click right inside the show and right click inside each graphic to put in the text. But the next one is interview, and the last one is train on the job. Okay, so once I got the text in, I can close that. And they're going to size it. And this is the tricky thing because they want to size, I just make sure it's 175 high, 65 wide. Because you can size, and again, like I got this highlighted, I'm going to have actually two tabs for SmartArt. Two tabs for SmartArt to work with it. But they're going to set the size. But you can size the individual graphics. I think that's under Format. There's the size. Let me just watch what I can see when I do the height. I can size the individual graphics. And that's where people or students get stuck on. I'm going to undo that. They want the overall, this outer box. So really, you got to click on the outer box to where you just have it selected and none of the graphics on the inside when you do the sizing of this one. Because I think the height again was 1.5. I'll just use the scroller and work my way down. And the width I think is okay the way it is, but they want it 6.5. I guess it increases it. That's the size. Okay, that's on the Format. And let me see. They do, let me go to SmartArt Design because they do want the color. Let me see, color range. They want it here. They want it from 4 to 5 to change the colors. Let me make sure of that one. We go do the sizing. Here we go, yeah. Colorful range, accent 4 to 5. So I go change my colors. I want the colorful range 2 to 3. That one's 4 to 5. And then they set at one of these 3D ones. Let me see, I think it's the first. Let me see. Click under 3D, second style. So it's that one right there. It's going to be the inset. Okay, and that's it. All right, now this might be an issue. This next one. This next, because I think I had a problem with this over the summertime. I went to the end of the document. At the end of the last paragraph, they're going to have you insert a video, and once I hit the, I got to remove that indent, so I'm going to set that indent marker back to 0. You're going to insert an online video. Now with my install on my machine, if I go to the insert, I do have online video. And I think some of you are not going to have this online video. But for those who might, if you click online video, yeah, it did change. It did change. So you used to have a search engine where you can search for YouTube videos and other video research. But what I did to work around this to actually get it to display is I went ahead, this video right here, it's on YouTube. It's just, you know, I got all my videos that I post are on YouTube. But I'm going to go ahead and copy. I'm just going to copy it, but you can just type it in. Go 1B video. So I'm going to actually go, let me see if this works. If not, I'll try something else here. I'll go to YouTube. Hopefully nothing shows up weird. When you go to YouTube, I can't control what videos sometimes show up, but I'll type in that search. And I'll click, and right there it is. And I think what I did is I came here, if I click the ellipse, either one of these would work. Doesn't matter which one. I'm going to click this. I want to just copy it to share. Usually you have a share there, but let me click on it and I'll just stop it. I don't want to play it. Here I can click share, and then I can copy that URL, and then I can come over here to this box and I can paste that into there and go to the insert, and there it goes. That's the workaround. Let me I'll just go and do it one more time because I can kind of do it a little bit better here. Okay, what I did, I want to do this. I want to go to, again, I went to the very last paragraph, hit enter. set my first line indent marker back to 0. I want to do a YouTube search for Go 1B video. Okay, so I opened up a tab in my browser, or just open up your browser. Go to YouTube. Okay, this is the search, Go 1B video. Again, I got another one. Well, it's one of these two. I don't know why I got that extra one this time. But I opened it. I just kind of stopped it for it. That's all it is kind of a short video just to do this. I clicked the share, did a copy of that URL, and then I went to the insert, went to insert online video, typed in the URL here, and clicked the insert. And that's really a lot of Canvas kind of moved to the same way. Canvas used to have the same setup as previous, like they're going to show in the book, but they changed it to where you just do this also, where you copy URLs and it posts them. Okay. All right. I think we got it. I think for Mac people, besides, I got videos out there how to get those footers, file names into the footers, and how to do the document properties. A couple of videos that I got set out there for that. I don't think you're going to have, besides this maybe looking a little bit different up here, I think you should be able to do all of this. If not, kind of shoot me an email and I'll try to figure it out, but I don't think I've had much problem with this one. And again, for those Mac users, it may still look a little bit different, so when you do the submission to the drop boxes in the comments, put made by Mac, and I'll go by what I know with Mac. Okay, make sure you save your updates. I still, I already got the footer and the file name, but again, under file info, they'll have you set document properties. Okay, that's it for this video.